All right, so normally my goal is to stream this live, but unfortunately, my internet is not cooperating with me. So I'm just going to go ahead and record this episode and just upload it to YouTube and Rumble later. So yeah, let's just get into it. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun. Boom. Let's go. Here. Here's some jazz for a little bit. Okay, we'll get into it.
Scientist, do you believe in God?
So, in the West, there's 2/3 of scientists pray to a personal God on the expectation it will intervene in their day's affairs. But I can tell you this, productive scientists do not bring their Bible, their scripture, their holy books into the lab because they do not mix there. So they draw a line in the sand and they do one in one place, then they worship on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, whatever is your religious tradition there. So to ask whether they can coexist, the answer is is empirically yes.
I didn't ask that. I asked, do you believe in God?
Every description of God that I've heard holds God to be all-powerful, very typical, and all good. And then I look around and I see a tsunami that killed 250,000 people in Indonesia, an earthquake that killed 250,000 people. If there is a God, the God is either not all-powerful or not all good.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean, the CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
Here, Neil deGrasse Tyson, you've earned this. Just for you, buddy. So first of all, making the claim that you gotta keep your religion separate from science. Even though there's Christian scientists, and it was Christians who invented the scientific method, and but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Nowadays we trust the science. The science. Speaking of science, as if it's some ambiguous being that is just out there giving us answers and not just a tool for us to use to test our hypotheses. But no, his argument is a common one that you'll hear from atheist, and it's always, if God real, why bad thing happen? But the question that needs to be asked is, where do you get a system to determine that something is bad? Why is suffering bad? How do you determine that? Because you can't just point out that, well, a lot of people agree that that thing is bad. Well, if they agreed that it was good, would it suddenly be good? Is that how that works? Fallacious. But anyways, enough of me rambling about that dummy. Not a fan of his. But welcome to Strange Days Podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Kurtz. And as I said in the beginning of this, I intend to do these these episodes live because my goal is to try to get people on the show with me, and like if they have disagreements, we can talk about it. We can have conversations because I think that is important, especially with the ideas that are being thrown around. I want to talk about it, but my internet's being a pain in the ass right now and isn't cooperating with me. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But before we get into anything else, let me do some housekeeping and, shill for the channel. Strange Days Podcast. You can go over here to cohpodcast.substack.com. It's my Substack. I write articles and blogs and stuff like that. You can go over there and read them. Some of them are pretty good. It's completely free. Go over there and sign up. Do a subscription. I mean, if you want to do a paid membership, totally up to you. I'd appreciate it. But I don't expect it. Just I do this stuff as a hobby. I don't expect people to pay me. But if you feel generous, I'm not going to stop you. Got to feed people. So, if you want to drop those donations, do it. Go ahead and do it. But yeah. Here, take a look at my Substack right here. Ricky's Substack. Come over here, check it out. Are aliens really demons? This was a clip from the last episode that I did on here. I'll put clips and stuff like that on there, and I also go in and, I write about stuff. See? I write it. Pretty good. Go check out the Substack. Give a few of my articles a read. Let me know what you think about it. Also, I'm here on YouTube. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you share the podcast. That's a good way to help me get my views out there and, get in touch with people and start conversations. Sorry, I'm
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm retarded. What's wrong with you?
I am a little bit, but that's okay. I get by. But also, I'm on Rumble. I'm going to upload videos there just in case, YouTube isn't the most friendly platform. I think it's the best platform out there. If they would just, stop being jerks to people. Just let us talk, What's the worst that could happen? I don't know.
This is bullying.
It is bullying. Stop messing with us. But, so, here. Let me talk about this guy. I actually got a comment on one of my clips that I posted up on YouTube. And you can find them on my YouTube. Just search in the videos I'll be putting there. I'm also creating a playlist. You can check clips in there. But this guy, I'm not too convinced that he's an actual person. He could be a bot. I don't know. I don't trust the internet these days. But and I'm not too sure that he actually watched the clip. But he quoted me, supposedly, allegedly. Everyone has a belief system, and to say that atheism is the lack of a belief system is dumb. Dude, I sound based. Like, yeah. If you claim that you don't have a belief system, you are dumb. This person, if it is a person, no, my dear, I really hope you're not a dude. Like, if you're a dude, don't be calling another dude my dear. Like, don't. Like, no. Get away with that stuff. Just talk like a normal dude. It's not that hard. You are barking up the wrong tree. You should distinguish between atheism on one hand, which only consists of a single statement, and the more comprehensive individual belief system of individual atheists on the other hand. I did, if you watch the clip. I said not all atheists believe the same thing, you dumbass. Remember, atheism says, I don't believe in gods. Okay. You know, it maybe in the clip, I didn't articulate what I was trying to say all that well. Maybe I didn't articulate it well. My bad. But he goes on to say, blurring this distinction is maliciously misleading. And since it is so obvious, not particularly wise either. Dude, lighten up. It's hilarious to me that atheists, almost all of them, I'm not going to say all, but when we talk about like society and stuff like that, we tend to generalize. You know, if we're talking to like a single person, we can talk about the particulars and all that stuff. But when we talk about people, we talk about them in generalities. A lot of atheists take on a materialistic worldview. It's just the truth of it. And they all get upset and butthurt when people tend to do this and they say atheist this or atheist that. And I kind of put it in there because, you know, it does make them do that and it makes me laugh. Yeah, that was weird. Sorry. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, there is a worldview / belief system that is informing the atheist to reject any claims to a god. Do all atheists share the same worldview? No, but it still doesn't escape the reality that everyone holds a worldview where they draw their conclusions from, and to say otherwise is dumb. Damn, I'm based. Damn. I'm based. He goes on to say, quoting me again, like, you don't have to do that. Just say what you're gonna say. Stop being so complicated. Like, just you wasted a lot of typing there. If you were typing, you know, I'm still not convinced that you're not just a robot on the internet. Yes, sure. Atheists believe that nothing should be believed without good reason, especially nothing extraordinary. See, this is why I'm thinking that it's a bot. The way that this typing is going out, like, I don't trust the internet. And yet I'm putting my face on the internet and my opinions on the internet. It's a love-hate relationship. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to read what I've already said. Correct. Who would even claim that atheism is the lack of a belief system, knowing that it only consists of an answer to a certain question? Thus, atheism is neither a belief system, nor does it contain one. It does contain a belief system. Because the atheist like atheism in itself might not. Okay, so you're right on that one. It doesn't contain a worldview inside of it, but the people that are claiming atheism, they all have worldviews. And if you would have actually watched the clip and you're not a bot, you would have seen that the chick that I was, critiquing said atheism is the lack of a belief system. Weird. All she had to see, look, let's go right here. I got it right here. We'll give it a listen. Let's see. If it'll play. My favorite type of people to talk about is atheists because true. It's weird hearing myself again. I am fairly confident that atheism is here. Let's just.
Oh, no, sir. Let's make this very clear. Atheism is not a belief system. It is the lack of a belief system. So
What? See? It's not that it's 35 seconds into the clip. And you didn't catch that? You didn't catch that?
Let's say you don't have symptoms of something. You are asymptomatic.
You are a retard.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm retarded. What's wrong with you?
True. Very dumb. But yeah, the whole point of, like, you know, attacking the atheist isn't necessarily attacking, like, I say that kind of hyperbolically. Hyperbolic? I don't know. Whatever. But we're trying to get to the underpinning worldview that leads them into atheism. And it's generally not all atheists. Although, please show me the one atheist that doesn't believe in a higher being, i.e. God, and, you know, believes in, like, supernatural stuff. There's not a lot of them. I mean, you get, like, the agnostics and stuff like that, and, like, the weird new age hippies who believe in spiritualism. I'm spiritual, not religious. You know, you're retarded. You're still a materialist because they talk about energies, man. We're filled with energies. That's still a material substance. We're talking about immaterial things that our human minds can't really comprehend what that means for something to be immaterial. But anyways, before I get too far and this ends up happening to me. Boom. I love that clip. I love it.
Again! You fucking idiots!
Get him. But yeah. Just wanted to share that. Still not convinced that is not a bot. It very well could be a bot. I don't know. Who knows? I also want to talk about this. Now I can't say what this is called on YouTube because, as I said earlier, they're not nice. They don't like people saying certain words because, you know, words are offensive. So what? Deal with it. Well, let's talk about this. Assisted self-deletion pods. Hopefully that is YouTube friendly. We will find out. Approved for use in Switzerland. Like what? Like we're actually doing this? This is how bad the world's gotten. I thought we were, like, progressing and, you know, we got all this like technology that makes life so much easier. You know, most people have it pretty good compared to if you went, like, back just like 100 years ago, even 70 years ago. Like, everybody has a refrigerator. Food is abundant. I mean, and in Switzerland, it's not like it's like some third world country. But yet, you know, the world's just collapsing and people can't take it anymore. You know, and I get it. There's people that are in, like, serious medical conditions that, you know, might not want to keep on going. But I mean, think like to actually, like, have the worldview that says that, you know, helping people self-delete is ethical or moral. Not sure how you get to that. So, the story at a glance. Assisted self-deletion is legal in some countries. So are some other stuff. Such as Switzerland, under certain circumstances. A pod developed for assisted self-deletion has cleared legal review in the country, according to local reports. The Sarco machine. That's what they're calling it? Weird. has been developed by international nonprofit organization Exit International, which advocates for voluntary euthanasia and assisted self-deletion. Isn't that just lovely? Excuse me. While assisted self-deletion in the country typically involve the ingestion of liquid sodium pentobarbital, yeah, the capsule offers users a peaceful death without the use of controlled substances. Philip Nitschke, that's a name. Founder of, wow, typo, found of Exit International says. Founder of Exit International says, the person will get into the capsule and lie down. It's very comfortable. They will be asked a number of questions, and when they have answered, they may press the button inside the capsule, activating the mechanism in their own time. So they provide it for you, but they realize that it'd be pretty messed up if you were sitting on the outside and you were like, all right, you ready? Boop. This is just weird. Nitschke explained the pod will then start the process of flooding the inside with nitrogen, which will reduce the oxygen level from 21% to 1%. He said the person will feel disoriented and slightly euphoric before losing consciousness. Well, that makes it all the better. At least they'll be in a state of euphoria. The whole thing takes about 30 seconds. Death takes place through hypoxia and hypocapnia, oxygen and carbon dioxide deprivation, respectively. There is no panic, no choking feeling. Well, I mean, I would hope not. I don't think anybody's going to be like jumping towards that. That's just crazy that we've gotten to the point where, you know, people think that this is okay. I don't know.
Just makes common sense.
No, it doesn't. Kind of retarded.
Gosh, my brain just literally pooped.
It did. Okay, so I want to make fun of this guy. If you guys don't know the Fresh and Fit podcast, it is a part of the whole red pill community, you know. When I first heard of red pill, I was thinking like, you know, the Matrix and all that stuff, you know, waking up out of the delusion. And I mean, I guess I don't consume red pill content a lot. I think they're all hyper focused on material gains and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but when you center your entire life around it, it's kind of boring listening to it. You got to get all this money. Get the Bugatti. You got to get a Bugatti. Like, I don't need to. I don't even think I would want a Bugatti. Like, though, I never seen one up close or anything like that. I'm kind of poor as shit. So, like, they bring out security when they see me start walking onto those car lots. They're like, you clearly don't belong here. And I'm like, you are right. And I'm okay with that. But anyways, this guy here, right here in the white, he's a little emotional. He doesn't like people disagreeing with him, and I think he has some deep-seated issues. But a couple guys that I do pay attention to, you should go check out their YouTube channels. Andrew Wilson on The Crucible. Go check that out. Subscribe to it. Got a lot of good content. And then Jim Bob from the Made by Jim Bob show. Go check them out on YouTube. Subscribe to their channels. They have really good content, and I enjoy it. But they went on to this live event with these red pill guys, and Andrew started like questioning like why all this materialism stuff is even good, and the guy just lost it and just started acting like an emotional woman. Just here, I'll show you.
We need some other little fucking lame douche over there. I still answer the question. Is giving someone an explicit why? Do you guys really hang out with these guys? This is not.
I would.
Jesus Christ. There's still some things. That bitch in our little girl just said, hell yeah, shut up. That's fucking.
Hell yeah, shut up.
All crowd says, yeah, we hang out with them. This is why most people don't invite me places. Yeah, we can tell. Have different skill sets.
I wouldn't invite him places.
We can tell his tits are all jiggling. He's got like a half a fucking jelly donut. Hey, bro, you're too big. Still got things back. Shake my head.
Yeah, he was just so emotional, and he couldn't actually formulate an argument. I think the steroids have gotten to him, and you know he's not that bright. He's not that bright. I don't know what apparently he went to prison and may have dropped the soap. I don't know. Sorry if that happened to you, but But apparently he does like motivational content or some stuff like that, telling dudes to level up, get a Bugatti, get your gains, get money. Like he said at one point, because they had like people in. I was watching this, and it was incredibly boring because they eventually stopped the back and forth between him and Andrew and Jim Bob, because the dude was just acting like a unhinged lunatic and kept on standing up and acting like he was gonna fight him. And like, dude, like even if you kick his ass, I mean, that doesn't prove that you're right. That's not how things work. Like, slow down, calm down, stop taking things so personal, and just make an argument. It's not hard. Like, lay out the steroids. Like, cool, you got arms that are like the size of my whole body. What good does that do you if you're dumb? Like, I'm pretty dumb, but I mean, at least I don't get emotional with people. And, don't talk about me like that. And here he goes, some more. You can hear this clip a little bit better.
I don't fit no fucking studies.
It does not
bro.
hugely improve a person's life.
Are you proud of who the fuck
bro,
you are?
Why
look at, are you proud? If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this motherfucker's proud of who the fuck he is? That's a bag of trash, dude.
Not an argument.
Pull your fucking shirt
because
off
I've been.
Tell me you're fucking proud of
because
yourself.
I've been to fucking prison.
Jesus Christ!
Because
look
I've been
at
to
you,
prison.
Bro.
He told him to lift his shirt up. Like, why are you trying to have another dude undress in front of you? It's kind of gay, dude. Just saying. And that's never going to be my response to somebody when they're trying to argue with me. Is lift your shirt up. Let me see if you got a six-pack. That'll completely validate everything that you were saying. Dummy. Some people don't have time to live in the gym. I mean, and I'm not even saying like dudes that are like all ripped and stuff like is not a bad thing, but I mean, when you make that your center focus, and that's the most important thing, is like all this material stuff, like eventually we're gonna die. And if you're a strict materialist, then that's it. So I mean, from that worldview, what's the point?
You got 10-inch arms and tits. Men don't have tits.
No, they go to prison where they get fucking.
Fuck yeah,
where they get
do.
raped up the ass.
You've never been to prison. Look,
That's
you're
what
talking about shit you
happens.
don't know.
They go to prison where they get raped.
Now you get your ass beat in front of
You think that
everybody.
that's better? You think that that's better?
Let's let him give his definition of success.
I don't fit no fucking
It
stuff.
does not hugely improve.
Oh, brutal. Fucking brutal. I just wanted to laugh at that clown. I tried watching it, and like as soon as they got it to the point where, you know, they weren't allowed to have any more back and forth, it pretty much just went to all the red pill guys just talking about, oh, you got to get all this material stuff. You got to get cars. You got to get women. You got to get money. It was boring. Like I don't know how people consume that content. I mean, like they say a lot of things that are true. Like society is like going downhill and is becoming more decadent and more degenerate by the day. But they don't have any. They themselves just consume the degeneracy. But whatever. Again, remember, cohpodcast.substack.com. Go check it out. Go there. Subscribe. Do it. It'll get you a Bugatti. Or however Andrew Tate says it. Another annoying guy. But let's talk about some other stuff. So, when we're talking about worldviews, and we're talking about, you know, how we come to know the things that we know. Now, there's a lot of ideas out there. Well, not really a lot. There's pretty much just a couple. But I mean, materialism eventually just leads to determinism, which is a really, really weird worldview where they completely reject free will. We can't choose what we're gonna do. Like I didn't choose to start doing this podcast. I didn't choose to, you know, turn my computer on and start talking about all this stuff. You know, I was determined to do this. It was out of my control. It's freaking weird. But when we're talking about this stuff, when we're talking about how we get to the root of things, we're talking about epistemology. What is epistemology? Epistemology is the branch of philosophy that investigates the nature, scope, and limits of knowledge. It examines questions related to belief, truth, justification, and the nature of knowing itself. Epistemological inquiries explore how knowledge is acquired, evaluated, and structured. Central topics include the distinction between justified belief and opinion, which is a big problem that we have in the world today, is that everybody thinks that everything is relativistic and it's just up to everybody's opinion, but that doesn't give you justification. Sorry to tell you this. If it's true that everything is just our opinion, then like nothing matters, and like nobody has any reason to argue with anybody. We just have to get enough people to believe what we believe. That way we can take over you. Crazy. The nature of evidence and the criteria for true knowledge. Epistemology delves into the foundations of knowledge, challenging assumptions about certainty and exploring the methods and processes by which individuals and societies come to understand and interpret the world around them. So yeah, epistemology. People should, like, you know, I think it'd be good for people to, like, you know, figure out what the hell it is they even believe and what they're even talking about. Ooh, that kind of gives me like a red and blue light. I kind of like that. Keep it there. But another thing, when we're talking about argumentation and worldviews, we need to take a look at the laws of logic. Now, there's 3 basic laws of logic when you're talking about your worldview and when you're trying to formulate arguments. One is the law of identity. A is A. Everything is the same as itself. So a cat can never not be a cat. A cat like a cat is always going to be a cat. You can't get around that, because then you get to the law of non-contradiction. Not A and not A. A and not A. So nothing can both exist and not exist at the same time, and in the same respect, or no statement is both true and false. So a cat cannot also be a dog at the same time. It's either a cat or it's a dog. Get it? Kind of sound like a familiar issue that we're having in the world today. The law of excluded middle. Either A or not A. Either something exists or does not exist. Or every statement is either true or false. Now, I'm pointing these out, and I might not explain them the best. I mean, there's far more educated people that can talk about this stuff, but I mean, I've got a basic understanding of these laws of logic. Which, I mean, when you're formulating arguments and you start getting into like people talking about fallacious things and contradicting themselves, this is what we're talking about. You can't have argumentation without adhering to these laws of logic. It doesn't work. Because if we violated them and we just said anything goes, you know, anybody can come up with any fallacious argument and it's valid. So, yeah, there's that. The laws of logic. Look into them. Go watch some people talk about them that could probably articulate it better than I can. But let's get into some videos. This is something that I've been seeing pop up more and more. Anti-natalism. You know, we are dealing with a severe decline in birth rates. People just don't want to have babies anymore, and they don't understand the logical conclusion of that is that if everybody stops having babies, the human race just doesn't exist anymore. And some people are okay with that. And I don't get it. Kind of bugs me. But let's take a look at this guy. He's a big advocate of anti-natalism. I can't remember his name. I downloaded this video a while ago. I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Personally, I don't think we have an obligation to bring people into the world that we know would have a happy life. If someone does exist, obviously it's good for them to have a happy life. Like me and you, we both exist. It's great for us to have happy lives. But on the personally, I don't think we have an obligation to bring people into the world that we know would have a happy life. If someone does exist, obviously it's good for them to have a happy life. Like me and you, we both exist. It's great for us to have happy lives. But on the
why would that be good for them to continue existing if we don't have a duty or an obligation to even bring them into this world? Because he gets into it. I've heard him in other conversations where he says, well, there's just so much bad in the world, you know, there's just so much suffering, you know, so why ought we even continue? I mean, why don't we just go to Switzerland and take that route? I mean, if things are so bad, like this is the problem with relativism. Atheism and relativism eventually leads to nihilism, where there's no purpose, no meaning, and this is the result of it. We get ideas like this, anti-natalism, where we just shouldn't bring anybody into the world anymore. No more babies. No more babies. Human race, goodbye. It was a good run. We gave it our best shot. But, you know, lunatics. Absolutely crazy.
Opposite end of the spectrum, I do think we have an obligation and a duty not to create people who we know will have bad lives.
See, See, so why do we even continue? Why do we continue if it's so bad? If we know that they're going to have bad lives, I mean, there couldn't ever be the possibility of, somebody having a good life, even though you don't really have a standard to measure what is good and bad. It's just all based on preferences. It's all just opinions.
If a couple goes to a doctor and finds out they have some sort of hereditary disease that's going to cause their child a lot of pain, by and large, even non-antinatalists will say that, yeah, that couple should choose not to have that child.
Now that just sounds like eugenics. Who are you to tell them that they like like people born with cerebral palsy, they have a rough life. Are you saying that they shouldn't be around? Are you saying that life is too hard for them? They don't deserve a shot to try to have a good life? Like, what the hell?
Be a wrongful imposition on that child. And so to me, what that says is, if we don't...
Oh, so it would be a wrong imposition on that child. So you would be doing that harm by bringing the child to be, instead of, just taking it out. Look at that. Look at that face. Look at that face. That's when I think of this idea, when I think of anti-natalism, that is the facial expression that I'm going to be thinking about, is pretty much that embodies your guys' worldview on anti-natalism. That right there.
He's just a little guy.
Don't have anything compelling us to bring happiness into the world via a new person, but we do have something telling us not to bring this suffering about via a new person. If we put those two things together, overall, we should opt on the side of not creating someone.
There you have it. There, things too bad, so no more people. No more people. It's probably too much bigotry in the world. That's probably one of the sufferings. People aren't nice. People aren't nice enough. Freaking crybabies. Let's take a look at moral relativism, which is one of the fun topics that I like delving into. They have this idea from the Christian worldview. Morals are objective. We have an objective standard of what morality is, meaning that if something is bad, it can't ever be good. And if something is good, it can't ever be bad. But moral relativism comes in and says, it's all based on, like, the society, the people, what they think. And it's absurd. Can murder ever be good? Can stealing ever be good? I'm sure with, like, stealing, you can try to find some way to justify it. You talk about the sad story of, like, starving kids and, they need food. I mean, it's still wrong, still immoral, but you can make an argument for why that is. But murder? Can you ever make murder moral? And a lot of people like to conflate killing and murder. Murder is always the unjustified killing of another human being, so it's always unjustified. You can't have a justified murdered. That would be a contradiction. We just talked about the laws of logic. This is what we're talking about. But let's hear what this lady has to say.
The most frustrating thing about talking with
Tell me
Christians about morality
tell me what it
is
is.
that they are already doing moral relativity.
Oh, are we?
And they either don't know it or they won't admit to it.
Is that right? We're already doing it. We're already doing it. So let's just hear what she says.
Debated this guy in the comment section for a little bit, and when he got cornered, he did two things. So first of all, he admitted that some scripture is opinion and not doctrine of the word of God. Therefore, in order to make some of it opinion or the words of men, since the text does not say, hey, by the way, this is an opinion for this time.
You remember how I was talking about the guy in the beginning, and he was all like, oh, not all atheists, not all Christians believe that, and I'm not one to say, and I don't like throwing out the heresy word, but what she's about to say that this guy says next, kind of borders on that.
Period. Is that you are using a modern conversation about ethics and morals to judge what.
Because, just like evolution, give something enough time, it becomes something else. So if something was bad before, given enough time, it becomes good. Like, you always hear that argument. Oh, it's 2020 something. You can't talk like that anymore. You can't think like that anymore. Like the year does not matter. If something is bad, it is always bad. That's not how things work. Stop being dumb. Stop being dumb. Ugh.
What is scripture and what is opinion? The second thing he did is that when he was cornered, he said that he has a different belief about hell than other believers. He actually has a really universalist approach, which I.
Yeah, universalism is heretical. So this funny face. I'm gonna have to clip that. But yeah, this is kind of like what I was saying earlier, where it'd be really nice if like everybody who called themselves a Christian, had the same belief structure, one faith. It'd make things a lot easier. Now I get it. People are gonna have their own opinions, stuff like that. It's not like we have this structure that was given to us that would help us solve all these problems. But I know how to read. I don't need somebody to read for me. I'm not getting into that though. Let's just talk about moral relativism. Let's hear what she has to say more. But yeah, universalism, no.
I actually think is great, but how did he get there?
I think it's great.
Because it's
I don't
not
care what you
inherent
think.
in the text that this should be the correct view about hell and heaven, because you can take multiple scriptures and multiple atonement theories and multiple afterlife theories and weave, proof of it through scripture. So
this is why sola scriptura is retarded. Yeah, scripture is an authority for us to some extent, but there has to be a certain context to it. There has to be a certain interpretation to it. You can't just go and read it and like this is how all these heresies come to be, and people read words and they put their own interpretation to it. That's why we need a standard. Objective standards are important.
how is his theory correct? He may say reason or he may cite personal experience, but it's not in the text. So
like 2,000 years of church history can usually be a good place to start, find out what Christianity actually teaches, but what do I know?
It is relative. He thinks some of the believers in his own kind of religious institution are wrong about something based on his
and this validates her claim, because there's one guy she talked to calls himself a Christian, so therefore all Christians are relativist, because so many different denominations, that means that it's all relative. There can't be one that it's right. Like, it's dumb. It's dumb.
Own kind of internal compass that he got from a modern conversation around.
And with this whole moral relativism, like, I don't even deny that people can have different ideas of what is moral and what's immoral. Like, and I think that's where a lot of these people get confused on, is like, they're like, well, all these people have these different understandings of what's good and what's bad. So, like, why can't we just go like that? But what objective morality is saying is that despite what people might think is good and what people might think is bad, we need some objective standard that transcends the human mind. You know, if it's all left up to, you know, just based on what everybody feels, well, like right now, a good majority of the people would agree murder is wrong, murder is immoral. But what if tomorrow the majority of the people said, hey, you know what? Murder's fine. Stop being a bigot to those murderers. Why are you so mean to them? They're just living their best life. Slay Quine. Sorry about that. I like making fun of those people that say that dumb shit. But yeah, you know, it's ridiculous. There is obviously an objective standard that we have to hold to, because then just anything goes. Anything, you know, purge, you know.
Morals and ethics. We have only ever had moral relativity. The Bible
No.
is proof that all that we've ever had is moral relativity, because there is not one commandment or one doctrine.
Who the hell taught this woman how to read? Shame on you. Shame on you. Ugh. Frickin' feminism. Teaching women to read.
That is consistent throughout the Bible, not one.
No.
So the benefit of the Bible is that it is a long-form conversation about morality that we can learn from, and we can continue the conversation. But let's not pretend that
It's not just about morality. You know, it's also about God. You know, the power of God. One second. But yeah. Let's hear what's
presents
up.
moral objectivity. The best we have is empathy, which we get from being the tribal monkeys that we are.
Evolution. Hey, look at that. It always comes back to that. That's why the next episode that I'm going to do is going to be about evolution and just the ridiculousness of that. You know, just we came from pond scum. We are the long distant relatives to pond scum. And that makes sense to people. And what is empathy? What is empathy even? Can you objectively tell me what empathy is? What is it? It doesn't mean anything. And where do you get the ought? That we ought to be empathetic. Where are you getting that from if it's all just relative? And if it's all just relative, then you're right. And I'm also right. But how can that be? Wouldn't that be a contradiction? Huh. Interesting. You know, law of non-contradiction. This is why we have the laws of logic, and they are very much real, because then you get these absurd statements like this. Tribal monkeys.
And other species, especially social ones, show forms of empathy, and we.
Does that justify it as being good? There's some species that eat their young. Should we start doing that? Since, I mean, we're just animals. We're just animals. There's nothing different between us.
We also have conversation and reason, those three. And that's the best that we have. If you can tap into your empathy that we are all human and that we all feel and we talk to each other, so we notice how our actions affect other people.
My feelings. We gotta worry about feelings, because that's a justification. It's not. It's not. Jeez. Woman prattle. Nothing but woman prattle.
And we can apply reason when our intuitions are not.
What is reason?
Like in area.
How do you determine what's reasonable? How do you determine that, you know, an objective moral standard is not reasonable? How do you get that? Huh? Can you answer that one? Bet you can't. All right, but I am done listening to this lady.
Them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
And I'm back. So yeah, that's moral relativism. Done listening to the woman prattle. No more of it. Let's move on to something else. Let's talk about Joe Rogan. You know, I like Joe Rogan. I don't. My problem with it though is I don't think he ever says like anything really profound. I think like most of like everybody's like obsession with Joe Rogan is just because he has like interesting people come on his show and stuff like that, but I don't know. My problem is when he gets into talking about Christianity, because he, like a lot of people that talk about Christianity, they have no idea what they're talking about. But let's check this clip out.
Why would God make people gay in the first place?
Well, of course I would say it comes from God. If I didn't believe that, then I wouldn't be Christian.
Why would?
That's the Daily Wire for you. God doesn't make gay people. I'm so... Ugh. Come on, Matt. What are you doing? You dropped the ball there. If in Christianity, homosexuality is a sin, God does not tempt us. That would be a temptation. Gayness does not come from God. No. That's a bad Matt Walsh. What are you doing?
Would God make people gay? If he didn't want them to engage in gay sex?
If God real, why gay people?
All people have proclivities or towards different sins, different things that we would call sins.
Yeah, but if that's like their fundamental attraction.
Okay, he's about to say something dumb, but Matt kind of redeemed himself there. You know, people do have these proclivities to certain, like, vices. Like, that is true. Like alcoholism. But the thing with that is that there have been no, I'm not too fond of studies that all these atheists like to cling to, as if a study can't be, manipulated and lied about just to push an agenda, like certain things. But it has been shown that, because we know that alcoholism can be passed down genetically, unlike, homosexuality, because, homosexuals don't reproduce. So I know. Shocker. Crazy. But what we can see with alcoholics and people that are prone to becoming alcoholics, if they're never introduced to alcohol, they don't become alcoholics. Crazy. But he's about to say something dumb.
Attractiveness. They're attracted fundamentally to other men.
So what? What? Like, people don't understand where that argument leads to. Like, just because you have an attraction towards something, let's just say animals or younger people, just because you have that attraction, does that automatically justify it as being good? No. Come on, people, think. Use your brains, your minds. Use it.
Like, or other women. Like, why? It seems like something that God gave them. Like, why would God?
If I'm attracted to multiple women, does that give me the justification to be with multiple women? No.
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard. Anyone? Come on, don't be shy.
Like, these are just bad arguments. But, I mean, these type of arguments are inundated into our media that is, like, we overconsume media these days, and it's all run by these atheistic people who think that they're so clever with these arguments. They can be broken up easily. Dumb. I don't know how people fall for this. I don't understand it.
Give you an attractiveness, or why would you be attracted to the same sex if that was morally reprehensible, if that was against God's will? Why would he instill that lust and that desire and that feeling of being attracted and feeling of being in love with someone of the same sex?
Goes back to, if God real, why bad thing happen? I mean, and it further goes down to, if God real, why he not make world the way I like it? And then you can also say, it goes down to, if God real, why I'm not God? Why can't I just choose, what is acceptable and what's right? This comes back to an objective standard. It's not about what we want.
I don't think instilled is not the word that I would use. I
What
don't
would
think
you
God
use?
instilled it. I think that one of the again you want to get into Christian doctrine. I mean, one of the basic elements of Christian doctrine is that we're a fallen species, and so there are many things that come out of our kind of fallen human nature, and we all have, like I said, we all have proclivities towards sin. And no one's going to live a perfect life,
But that doesn't justify,
to
living those lifestyles.
To live a moral Christian life is really difficult. Requires a lot of sacrifice, no matter who you are. And that's it. I mean, it's.
Have you wrestled with these thoughts before? Have you had these kind of conversations and really
Sure, absolutely.
tried to figure out why would God create gay people? Do you think
He
that
doesn't.
God has created gay people? Or
Think about this. Like, are babies gay? Like, how can you measure that? How can you know that? There's no basis behind these claims. They just say it, and people are just supposed to grant it and just accept it. They need no axiom. I was thinking about that earlier. A funny thing that atheists have done is they've created what they call axioms. And what is an axiom? Oh, it's just a proposition that doesn't need to be justified because it's self-evident. How convenient. But they just expect us to grant them these positions. It's just dumb. It's just dumb.
I think they have a choice.
God has created all people, so every person that's gay was created by God, of course. Where exactly does
But
that
he didn't create them to be gay.
Proclivity come from? Like I said, I don't know exactly. I mean, to say that someone's born gay, I have issues with that go beyond theology, because now you're talking about, if you're born with any sexual proclivity, then that means that we're talking about like gay infants and so on. And
Right.
Exactly.
Don't you think people are born straight? That some people are born straight? Were you born straight?
it's an odd way of talking about it. Like to say that a baby is heterosexual. I think babies don't have a sexuality in that sense.
Right,
that's something
but
that
eventually they will develop a sexuality, and a small percentage of them will be homosexual.
And usually that is brought on by exterior influences.
And that's
They never want to talk about that, though. They were born this way. No, they weren't. It's dumb. You can't even prove it. They just throw these things out there and expect people just to accept it, and a lot of people do. And it comes back to, like that lady was saying, with moral relativism. Well, we just got to be empathetic. If something is bad for you, how are you being empathetic? Empathy means nothing to these people. Like, there's absolutely no standard.
always been, been documented. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's even natural in some animals.
No, there's literally only one animal that will willingly choose a homosexual partner or a same-sex partner if the opposite sex is around, and that is a sheep. I believe. I could be wrong on that. I think I heard that before. I don't have a study on it, but I mean, to compare ourselves to animals who don't have access to minds, they don't have access to logic, reasoning, all these mental faculties that we have. You know, that's not a good argument. You saying, oh, well, animals do it. Animals also eat their own shit. There's animals that eat their own young. Just because animals do it, that justifies it? Give me a break.
Yeah, well, I mean, we started by talking about laws and what laws are put in place. Now we're talking about Christian teaching.
But don't you think that
Christianity has I don't deny that Christianity has a challenging sexual moral code.
No, we don't.
But we're also, I'm not suggesting that the Christian sexual morality should be codified into law.
Why not?
But isn't that what's happening?
Why not? Like, this is what I don't get. You know, Christians can provide an objective standard. And just because I don't believe it, okay, justify your claims for morality. It's all relative. Oh, so that means I'm right too. If somebody cannot justify a claim for why someone ought not do something or ought do something, if they can't provide you any oughts, why should they be determining the laws that we have in this nation? It's crazy. It's crazy.
But if that's how we define marriage, because marriage is law.
Marriage is a Christian sacrament.
And if
you can't even come up with a good justification for why secular marriage ought to even be a thing. Like, what's the reason for it? the most they'll say is tax benefits. You don't get that much tax benefits from it. And I mean, and you don't even have to call it marriage. You can just do civil unions like they've always done. But there's a bigger agenda at play.
If marriage shouldn't involve gay people, then you are saying that it's because of Christian fundamentalist ideology.
And tell me why that's wrong. You can't do it. Well, it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I don't like it. I don't care what you like.
No, because I think you can talk about the marriage issue without even getting into biblical morality, which is what I was doing. I mean, you brought up the Bible,
right?
I didn't introduce
Well, I brought
it
about.
And see, this really bugs me when people do this. Like, our theology, I'm trying to think of a good word for it, but I'll just say dictates what our politics are going to be. I mean, there's no way of separating that. This whole idea of separation of church and state it's like the only thing that you could say is that like just Christians shouldn't be in power, and you can't even provide a justification for that. Like this is the reason why Christians are doing so bad in these debates and stuff like this, is because they think that they have to adopt the secularist worldview and argue from their worldview. No, absolutely not. The best way to do it is to do internal critiques on their worldview and show how fallacious and nonsensical it is. They have no justification for any moral claims. They have no moral arguments. It all just comes back to, well, this is something that I don't like it when you guys do that. Okay. I don't like it when you guys do that. Am I justified now? Is that justification for me? Oh, no? Odd how that works.
We talked about Christianity,
right?
In particular,
right? But that's my point. It's like you introduced that to the conversation.
Yes.
Because
I wanted to find the reason why you opposed gay people being married.
Because marriage is a Christian sacrament. So why not follow the standards of Christianity? Seems logical. I don't know. Pretty crazy. Degenerates. See, and that's where, like, I was talking last time in the last episode about how I'm further moving towards the idea that human rights are just completely made up, because all these people that keep on, like, all these libertarians and all the leftists and all that stuff who are hollering and screaming about my freedoms, my rights, like, they don't ever talk about, like, their freedom or right to, like, take on any duties. It's always about how much more degenerate can I be. I want my freedoms so I can do whatever thing I want. It's all just a selfish ideology. That's all it is. There's no duty. There's no sacrifice. There's nothing like that. That's why we're falling into a decadent society. All these degenerates who can't even justify why anything they think is bad is bad. I just feel like it. I just feel like it. I don't like it when you do that. Meh. Stupid. But speaking of that conversation was kind of getting into the whole topic of free will, and that's why people succumb to things that are against Christian ethics and stuff like that, is because we were given free will. Because without that free will, we would not have the free will to choose to follow God, to follow Christ. And then you get when you get deep down into the materialist atheist worldview. Atheism isn't the worldview. Shut up. Shut up. But when you get deep down into it, it just turns we're just mechanisms, we're just machines, and free will just doesn't exist. Like we don't everything's just input output, matter and motion. There's no soul, there's no mind, there's no I. Where's the you if we're all just these mechanisms? If we lack a soul, if we lack a mind. If that were true, there should be nothing that distinguishes us from anybody else. In my opinion. But let's take a look at this weird guy. He's trying to justify the lack of the free will that we have. And I'm wondering, was he determined to come to that position? Or did he choose within his mind that we have no free will? Interesting. Interesting.
When confronted and pressed on why God would create and allow evil to exist in the world. When confronted and pressed on why God would create and allow evil to exist in the world.
He's half right there. He allows it. He did not create it. This is, and even that image that he's got right there, it shows the dualistic idea of God, which is when you get down into Christian theology and understand what evil actually is. Evil doesn't have an ontological place in reality. Evil was not created. Evil is simply the privation of good. If you go into Christian teachings, like even just going off from what the Bible says, in the first days of creation, everything that God created was good. There's no part where it says, oh, well, then I created evil. No. Evil is not a creation. Evil is a result from us rejecting God, rejecting that which is good. It is just a privation of that which is good. Similar to cold. Coldness doesn't actually exist. It's just the privation of heat. When you take heat away, it becomes cold. It's a good analogy towards that. But let's give this guy a try, see what he's got to say.
Most people respond that it's because God gives us free will.
True.
And therefore evil exists because of man, not God.
Yeah,
People
that's
may
right.
choose to do evil things of their own accord, or through the influence of demigods like Satan. But the good God has nothing to do with it, because his only part to play was in providing us all with free will. But is that really the case?
Well, let's test this out. If we don't have the free will to choose the things that we do, and we're all just determined to do these things, how can any of those things actually be evil, and how can any of them be bad if we have no choice in like how can you even be mad at somebody for doing something that you claim is evil? If they have no choice in the matter, we're all just these determined mechanistic. I'm bad with words. We're just all these determined machines. Like how do you reach that conclusion that anything is bad? Because they don't prefer it. That's what it's going to get to.
Can God be so easily let off the hook? Does man truly possess this prized and pedestalized concept called free will?
Can we tell God how he ought create his creation?
Or is that, too, mostly an illusion?
Why I'm not
Firstly,
God?
it must be reiterated that God, by definition, being the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator of all things, is alone responsible for the existence of absolutely everything. That means...
You know, they always bring those three up, which they are true. But they bring these up because they don't understand what it means. They don't get it. And I mean, really, our human minds can't understand. Like, how can we even comprehend something that is immaterial? How can we comprehend what is it? What are the three words? Omnipresent. That's what I was going to say. How can we even comprehend God being in all places at all time? Like, that's a lot for the human mind to even comprehend. But they bring this up because they think that this is a big gotcha, Like, they're like, I don't understand these things, so these things can't be possible. It's not how that works. I don't understand calculus. That doesn't make calculus not possible. Just because we don't understand things doesn't mean that they don't exist or that it's not possible. You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
All things is alone responsible for the existence of absolutely everything. That means every mosquito, leech, lice, tick, flea,
back to if God real, why bad thing happened.
Hookworm, and every other blood-sucking parasite in existence. That means every earthquake, blizzard, avalanche, landslide, wildfire, hurricane, tornado, tsunami, cyclone, hailstorm, lightning strike, volcanic eruption, flood, drought,
all these effects of nature, these physical effects, how can you even call them bad? They're like, I really don't understand how they don't understand this problem that they have where they're rejecting an objective standard, but then they still want, like, this is the big problem. They just want to be granted all these claims that they cannot justify. And when you try to get them to justify them, you're just using word salad. You're just they really freak out when people do presuppositional argument on them, because they know that if they have to justify their claims, there is no justification for it. That's why they need the axioms. Because they dumb. They really dumb.
Famine and every other terrible natural disaster.
Terrible.
That means every flu and fever, hemorrhoid and...
Think about that. Terrible natural disaster. If something is natural, how can it be terrible?
Hernia, bruise and broken bone, every debilitating case of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, autism, asthma, allergies, measles, mumps, migraines, menstrual cramps,
asthma's evil,
and more. The list of agonizing ailments could fill their own book. Suffice to say, God created the conditions for a veritable buffet of suffering here on Earth. And when a child is born with a torturous and terminal brain tumor, when a mother suffers and dies during a painful delivery, or when whole innocent families die of floods or famine, it is because the world was created to be this way. The world could have just as easily been complete without parasites, natural disasters, and diseases, but the inclusion of such creative...
If God real, why I'm not God? Why can't the world be how I want it? That's literally all their argument gets down to. If God real, why bad thing happen? Why thing happen I don't like? It's so simple.
Torments.
They add in all this useless garbage that they keep on, like all these emotional arguments, and it really just comes down to that. If God real, why bad thing happen? If God not real, why good thing happen? Never want to talk about that. never want to talk about all the good things that happen in the world.
Clearly the conscious and intentional choice of our Creator. Likewise, the necessity to constantly kill and eat the life energy of other sentient beings simply to survive must have also been a conscious and purposeful.
If God real, why I have to eat? How do people fall for this? They must just be just as emotional as Mr. Skinny Jeans in the earlier video that was screaming. Yeah. I mean that's the real reason why I'm doing this podcast. I want people to answer these questions on why they don't understand how stupid they are. Because I don't view myself as the most intelligent person, but I understand these things. So I'm having a hard time understanding how these people don't understand them. Because I guarantee this guy probably has some college education. Obviously, education doesn't equate to intelligence. Weird how that works.
Decision by our Creator. So where within such self-destructive choices determined by God?
And that's literally how they see the mind. Just a little engine.
Do us created, subjective beings living in this world have free will? Do I have the free will to stop lions from eating gazelles?
What?
Do I have the free will to end famines and pestilence?
What? That... Do these people just not understand what free will is? Like, that's not... You have the free will to try. You can try. But just because you can't do it doesn't automatically lead to, oh, we don't have free will. I can't end famine. I can't end famine. No free will. Like I don't get it. Can somebody please help me understand this? Like why?
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm retarded. What's wrong with you?
Again! You fucking idiots!
I love that clip.
Do any of us have the free will to end the constant cycle of suffering here? How free are we really in the choices we make? Am I free to eat razor blades or drink gallons of bleach? I could...
What? Of course you're free to do that, but you're not free from the consequences of it. So is that what this guy's saying? Because there's consequences to our action, that means that we don't have free will. But you still chose to do it. I mean, we just showed the self-termination or self-deletion, however YouTube wants us to say it. That's why I don't like YouTube. It'd be a lot easier. But, you know, it's kind of fun trying to figure out ways to get around these dummies. But we just saw earlier that people are choosing these self-deletion pods. They're willfully going into them. You know, they're using their free will to just end it all. I don't think that these people know how to think. Like their minds are messed up. I don't get it.
I could attempt to do such things, but I'm certainly not free to do them in the sense of having no consequences. or even tolerable consequences? Am I free to flap my arms and fly to the moon? Or breathe while swimming underwater?
You fucking idiots!
The Creator has already determined the range of choices available, allowing us only a limited list of options for any given situation.
You can't fly up in the sky, and that means you don't have free will? Ugh. Free will and determinism are like a game of cards. The hand that is dealt you, the hand that is dealt to you. How about picking a quote that, is worded properly? The hand that is dealt to you is determinism. The way you play your hand is free will. Oh my gosh.
For example, I may use my free will to jump off a cliff, but no matter how fast I flap my arms, no matter how hard I pray, and no matter how much self-belief or positive thinking I manifest, will stop me from smashing into the ground below.
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard. Anyone? Come on, don't be shy.
Gosh, my brain just literally pooped.
Just makes common sense. Beta!
Idiot.
I cannot will myself to fly. I cannot will another person to love me, and I cannot will away suffering, aging, or death. So where and when do we actually exercise this elusive entity known as free will? When I woke up and dressed myself this morning, was that an act of free will?
Yeah.
My clothing choices were constrained by my body type, income, climate, material, trends, and what items were actually in my closet. I could choose not to wear clothes, but that would start a whole other chain of events beyond my free will, where I might catch pneumonia.
The illusion of free will is straining under the weight of
might arrest me for
determinism.
indecent exposure, and I might spend the night locked in a steel cage, all for attempting.
The fact that we are not free from the consequences of our action does not equal we have no free will. Because obviously, you can choose to do those things that will bring on consequences.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
To exercise my supposed free will. There are far more determined choices already made for us than the actual free choices we have to make for ourselves, regardless of how much we will them to be otherwise. When you consider the limitations of our physiology, physical laws, societal norms, personality types, character flaws, strengths, weaknesses, the will of others, and a host of other factors, the term free will reveals itself to be a complete misnomer. When carefully considered, the concept becomes so nuanced that it
There can't be free will if every moment is just the ultimate product of an earlier state. Human choice makes no sense. Well, you're presupposing that that is true. That would be input-output. We are not input-output. When we receive information, we have the choice to either accept it or reject it. If it was input-output, any information that was given to us, we would just accept. Because we wouldn't have a choice. Ya idiot.
disappears into a sea of determinism. In ultimate terms, the only being who could truly have free will is God. Since God is the objective, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator, God has no subjective limitations, boundaries, dependencies, or competing wills to contend with.
If God real, why I'm not
created
God?
our physiology, the physical world, and the laws that govern it. God determined every aspect of our being, every cell, every organ, from our eyes to our toes, to our minds, egos, and emotions. every twinge of sadness, and every pang of hunger was designed to feel that way, and to elicit certain reactions. We may attempt to use our freedom, or exercise our will within those constraints, but it's analogous to fish swimming upstream a never-ending river. How can an objective creator being's omnipotence meaningfully coexist with subjective created beings' free will? If everything we see, hear, taste, touch, feel, and think was in...
Why would he even put that in? He doesn't believe in a soul. You can't justify a soul. We're just determined machines. But we're only determined because we're not free from the consequences, and you can't go flapping your arms like a bird. That follows that free will is not real. Big brain stuff right here. Big brain stuff.
Intentionally created to be that way by an all-powerful entity. How...
See, and this is also the problem, is that, like, they don't understand the Christian position because they don't ever listen to what the Christian position is. However, since Christians value truth, we listen to the absurdities that these people claim, and we just shake our heads. They always leave out the fact that our world is not the way that it was at creation. We are in a fallen world. When you add that into it, look at that. Everything makes sense. Crazy. So you can't say, oh, why God made this bad world? Why God make this bad world? Why you make a world I don't like? Why you make a world I don't prefer? Yeah, dummies.
How can we claim any thought-based decision, sense-based reaction, or emotion-based preference as our own? Think of it this way. How much free will do characters have in a dream? When you're dreaming, how much agency does each individual character in your dream have when making decisions? The dreamer is the sole arbiter of all decisions made in the dream. Dream characters have no autonomy whatsoever apart from the dreamer, because the dreamer is the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator of all dream characters and the entire dream world itself.
This guy has
People may
followers.
fancy
Why do I not
themselves
have
as separate
followers?
individuals with free will to act this way or that.
Do I just have to say retarded stuff to, like, get followers? Is that what I gotta do? Cause I mean, some of the things I probably say is retarded. I'm not gonna lie. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But at least I'm not this dumb. Things could be worse. Always remember that. Things could be worse. But I guess I was just determined not to be this dumb.
Throughout the dream, but instantly upon awakening.
When you die, a piece of God wakes up and realizes he was only... What? Oh my gosh. Eric Dubé. So this is this guy's own quote. Because this guy is Eric Dubé that is making this video. So this right here, when you die, a piece of God wakes up and realizes he was only dreaming. So deep and profound. How do you justify that? How do you know that? You made it up? You dummy. I think this guy irritated me more than the woman prattler about moral relativism. Like, this is actually dumber. I didn't think it was possible, but you know, it got there. There's like 30 seconds left. Let's see what else retardedness he can spew out of his mouth.
The dreamer remembers that they were actually everyone in the dream. During the dream state of consciousness, each character believed they were exercising their own free will throughout every situation in the dream. But in reality, the one responsible for everything that happened, good or evil, comedy or tragedy.
You can't call things good or evil. There's no free will. Everything is determined. You dummy. What if life is the dream, and when we die, we wake up? People, don't do drugs. It's bad, I'm calling.
The only entity who ever truly had any agency in the first place was the dreamer.
What?
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
True.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
I have no idea. Well, that was fun. I hope people enjoy it. I wish I could have done this live, but you know, I'm out on the road doing truck driving, so my internet isn't always the greatest. Maybe I should hook up with Elon Musk and say, hey, put this Starlink on my truck. Let me get some of that Starlink, yo. Yeah. Probably won't do that. Not a big I don't trust Elon. I don't. He's got some weird ideas. I don't like the brain chips. You ain't putting no brain chip in me. That ain't going in my head. I don't know about y'all, but that ain't going in my head. Not gonna happen.
I do rely on my mom for a lot of things.
Beta. But yeah, that was fun. Hopefully my mic, I'm kind of hearing it. I might have been peaking a few times, and if I did, forgive me. I'll get this thing all figured out. You know, it's gonna be a work in progress. We'll get this figured out. But yeah, again, just be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell icon. That way you are notified whenever I go live, if I can go live. I don't know. Last time it went pretty good. Like I don't know what happened this time. Usually here I got a pretty good internet connection, but this time it just flipped me the bird and said, no, you're not doing it. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do it one way or another, because I'm determined to do it. But yeah, cohpodcast.substack.com. Go there, check out the blogs that I write. You might learn something. And you know, if there's anything that I say that you don't agree with, let me know. Right? Leave a little comment. Let me know. Or if you'd like to come on the show, message me. Because if I'm not able to do this live, I mean, I can figure out another way to do it. But I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to talk with people. Come on, come talk to me. Let's have a conversation. I promise I'll be a lot nicer. As long as you don't act like an idiot. You start doing dumb stuff, then I might have to get mean. No, I mean, yeah, like that's something that I had been planning with this. I'd like to, like, if I'm doing the live stream, have people jump on, and you know, we can conversate and we can talk about these ideas. And I mean, hey, like I've been saying, I mean, I don't understand all this stuff, so I mean, maybe I'm getting stuff wrong. Come and correct me. Maybe you can prove me wrong. I don't consider myself an expert at any of the things that I'm talking about. I know a little bit about a lot. And a lot about a little. See, I can say profound stuff too. Ooh. Ooh. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this. Like I said, go to my Substack right over here. Go check it out. I got a lot of stuff. It's all free. You don't have to pay for a subscription. I got a whole lot of stuff in here. You can go down and you can read a whole lot. When I was doing my other podcast, I did a podcast before I was doing this a while back ago, called A Couple of Hoosiers Podcast. I was mainly talking about politics over there with a co-host of mine, but as I got into this trucking job, I kind of had to put that on hiatus. I don't know. We might start doing that show again. It's still up on YouTube and Rumble, so you can go check that out if you want. Couple of Hoosiers Podcast. That's why my Substack is COH Podcast, because that's the Substack that I was using to write all the articles for that. And I'm working on an article right now about evolution, pretty much everything that I'm going to be talking about. I know I said, anybody that watched the first episode, I know I said the next episode I was going to be talking about evolution, but you know, I saw some things about atheism that I wanted to share my thoughts on. So that's what I did. That's what I did. Came on here and I started talking about it. And you know, it'd have been cool if we could have did it live, but you know, we do what we do. We work with what we got. But that's going to be it. So enjoy your morning, day, night, whenever you watch this. If you watch this, if you do watch it, smash the like button and share it with somebody. Share it with an atheist. If you know an atheist, or if you are an atheist, watch it and tell me what you think. But actually watch it, and don't be like the guy who commented on one of my clips and didn't even know that the chick that I was critiquing said what he was criticizing about me. You know? If you know, you know. And if you don't know, then you don't know. Okay, I'm done. No more dumb stuff. You know, we're just gonna be gone. Bye.